Alrighty, let's see. I think we're live here. Let me know, guys, if this camera is a little shaky or if the sound isn't right. I see Moose and Cartoon in the comments. I appreciate if you guys let me know off the bat if we're okay or if it's really slow or if it's not working, because I'm using a different port on this computer and I think it might be a slower port. But camera looks good. Not so much. Okay, cool. Okay, it is slow. Okay. Is it still laggy? Hey, Logness, good to see you, man. Hopefully I don't have to restart this feed. I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to... Your blinks last forever. I'm not sure what that means, but bit of a delay. Okay, let me see if I can plug this into a different port and see if hopefully I don't lose you guys. If I do, I apologize. Let me think here. Let's see here. 1 minute. Let me just never had this issue before, but we'll see what we can do. Stand by, QRX, 1 second. Be right back. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, we got something here. No sound. Okay, 1 second. No sound. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. It looks like it's coming in. Okay. Gotta love this stuff. Be right back. 1 second. There's sound. Oh. Okay, all good now. Thank God. Sorry about that, guys. I had to switch ports around. I'm using gigabit, and unfortunately, to get gigabit out of this laptop, I have to use a certain USB port because it doesn't have an Ethernet port on it, and I sacrifice video speed when I use it. To make a long story short, what a freaking nightmare some of this stuff is. All right, let's get you guys tuned in here. Let's get this back in action and see where we can go. All right. I'm so sorry, and I appreciate you hanging in there. Hey, Richie, good to see you. Good to see you, Drew. I don't see how you do it, man. Yeah, I love the stress of going live sometimes. And the sad thing is, usually I don't change anything. Let's turn the light on over here, too. 1 second. There we go. That'll be a little better. I usually don't change anything. I only had to change this because I was only getting like 100 megabits per second out of my internet connection. I should be getting like literally a gigabit up and down. I'm gonna have to see if I can do both video and the Ethernet port to get the speed up, but that's another discussion for another day. Let's get to the whiskey. It's been a long day. And really appreciate you guys sticking around. Great show as usual. Scotch for Dummies. I need to get one of your all's shirts, and I apologize. I'm sporting the old last year's Scotch Test Dummies, the 12 Hours of Boom. I made it through, and I need to get one of your all's because I want to get my hands on the Wheelhouse shirt. That's my favorite probably, but I'm gonna have to get probably the Marzipan and the other ones too. You're stacking bottle boxes now. Yeah, it's you know, gotta gotta collect. It's like Pokemon. You gotta collect them all. It's just the way it is. Hey, good to see you, Dram. Well, we're gonna take a look at two of these expressions from Diageo that are in what's called the Flora and Fauna series. If you get a chance, also check out Aquavite. Roy has a really good. He kind of touches base very briefly with each offering and talks about the history and what they started out with and what they offer now. And you can still get these bottles. They're not easy to find, but you can order them online if your state does allow imports. And maybe even a place in America might actually have it, but typically I think you have to order it from overseas if you're going to get your hands on it. And yeah, I should get a burnt toast as well. Drew, you're right. Anyway, the first one we'll touch with is the Blair Athol. I think that's how you say it. Atoll. I should have looked up the pronunciation on this. I know that it was originally founded in 1798, which is really old school, and it was Aldur was the initial name. They changed it later on. Looks like around 1825, and then 1933, the distillery was acquired by Arthur Bell and Sons, and has been making whiskey for their blends ever since, which is what this is typically used for. And it's a 12-year-old in ex-sherry and ex-bourbon casks. So that, I believe, is why the color is so dark. But my friend and Generous Paula, hopefully you're out there watching or you get a chance to stop by, he was gracious enough to give me a sample of this. And I returned the favor by getting the Inchgower 14, which we'll take a look at in a second as well. But this guy is 43%. You know, it's not 40, thank God, but it's 43. It's a little bit of a step up. 12-year-old's got an age statement. He says it's most likely chill filtered and with colorant added. I don't know if that's how sure he is on that. I know sherry casks will give it, you know, darkness. And this is, you know, let me give you a white balance to go with. This is not, sorry about that. This is not a out of the question, I would think, but for 12, it is a little dark. Sherry, though, as you know, as you've seen like the Macallan Edition 2, you've seen any Glendronix. I mean, typically their 12s are even fairly on the darker side, but I'm not sure if this is a 50-50 or what the percent of the sherry versus the bourbon is. They don't really give you a whole lot of detail on that I can see. If anybody does know more details about this particular offering, I'm all ears. Now, the funny thing is, I know that I mentioned Aquavite, Roy from Glasgow in Scotland. He's a big fan of this stuff. I've never tried it. This is my first time gonna go in for a nose, a taste, a finish, and give you kind of a run up synopsis of it. But I've had a few friends that have done this one already that is in our circle, and they didn't dislike it, but they weren't like really into it as much. But you know, some people just like certain things that they get more so than others. Sulfur is a big one that could make someone love or hate a dram. Herbal notes, and we'll get to that later down the road. So let's take a look and see how this one. Really nice fruit, and we're talking like mid-level, not your super dark fruits, not your all white grape and pears, but this is like middle of the road. Really nice sugary candy-like smell combined with it as well. No smoke to speak of. If it's in there, it's extremely subtle. This is not peated or anything like that, so you're not going to have to worry about, you know, the if you're not into peat, it's not going to push you away. But it's a little subtle, but it does have some nice tea, tobacco notes. Some really nice spices, mild Like if you took cinnamon and sugar, mixed it together, put it on some French toast. Has a refreshing kind of a nose to it. I'm down with it. It's just it is a little on the tame side for me. I like a more assertive, punchy kind of flavor on the nose and the palate. But it's not bad for a 12-year-old. It's got some nice deeper things. When I talked about the tea and the tobacco, it's well balanced with that sweetness and the fruit. It goes to well, I think, together pretty well. Hey, Bob, good to see you, man. Oh, whiskey throttle. Hey, Daniel, it's good to see you. You're killing me with the. I'm in my dry camp job. I'm sorry, man. Ooh, that is interesting. That is better than expected. It's got a nice mouth coat. It's definitely not thin. It's more of a medium. I wouldn't go as high as like a Clanlish 14 or anything like that, but it's got a nice um, medium mouth coat, and it's got some nice, I'd say, toffee caramelization. Spice from the sherry's bringing the little bit of the cinnamon, a little bit of the grey currant, strawberries. Has like a subtle molasses root beer kind of a flavor to it. Sassafras kind of thing. Ginger. Not bad. It's not overly sweet, so people that are not into sweet drams, and I do like a sweet dram, but it's got a little bit of the bitterness to balance it off with that root kind of a taste, that root beer, gingery, sassafras kind of note. Brown sugar, but like light brown sugar, not dark. It's not overly syrupy. It's not bad. It might be on the. It's not really dry because usually I don't like a dry dram when I finish, but the finish is where I'm kind of trying to figure out if I'll enjoy, if I'm liking it, if I'm enjoying it. It's got some cola properties on the finish. I think the reason I'm kind of hesitant about going all in and giving it really, I mean, I'm praising it for being a good drink, but for going all out like high praise, it has more of a bitter finish than I expected it to have. Thankfully, it's not metallic. It's not overly herbal or floral. It doesn't have that, but it's got some sort of not medicinal either. I'm trying to think of the word for it, where you get that real earthy bitterness. It's let me go in for a bigger sip and see if it's leaning towards more like a dark chocolate note, or if a cocoa or a mocha espresso kind of thing. But it really kind of did dry out after a bit. Like the first sip was really enticing, and it made my mouth water, and I was like enjoying it. But as soon as the finish came in, it like dried it all up like a desert almost. It was really weird. I really like that palette though. Hmm. Let's see if we can get that finish to simmer down a little bit because it was really dried up. It's got some nice maple syrup on the finish now. It was a bigger swig, I call it. Um, I'm trying to think if that. I'm trying to think short, medium, long. I'm gonna say this guy is on the short to medium, and it is on the drier side than I think. If it wasn't as dry, I think I would enjoy it a little bit more. But the syrupy notes have taken over the bitterness, so after a couple sips, it's getting better. Let's have some more. Lee said it needs a drop of water. I know that's bullshit. No offense, but hey, Bobby, you're never late to the party, my friend. I'm good. I'm really glad to see you. I still got to break out that Talisker 8 for Old Particular. I still got it back here. I am going to do that one eventually, and hopefully we'll break that out next time around. I need to get that out, but that yeah, it's on the drier side. It's got a nice mouth coat, which saves it. It's not, it's not overly bitter. It's got some balance. I think it's a solid dram, honestly. I can see where Roy really likes it, but I can also see why some people might be a little turned off by subtle nuances here and there. So I'm going to say this is a good 3.5, better than average. I'd love to get my hands, I don't know if it exists, but like an 18-year-old Blair Athol, or a maybe like a little more intense sherry. Like this reminds me of a bit of like not an Oloroso. It tastes more like a Fino to me, but I don't know what kind of sherry they used in this. It's not salty though, but it is dry, and that's why I'm wondering if it might be an Oloroso, actually. I'm thinking it's Oloroso. I'm thinking out loud here. Sorry, guys. I was trying to discern if it's Fino or Oloroso. It's definitely not Pedro Jimenez because it's not sweet enough, but I'm leaning towards Oloroso, and I wish it was a little more maybe a Pedro Jimenez version of this, or an older version, or maybe an 18 and PX version would be really nice to see what it's like. But it's not shabby. Don't get me wrong. This is not I mean, there's a hell of a lot of things I would not want to have versus this. This is actually better than most. So I don't want you to think I'm downing it by any means. It's just, it's really close to being a 4-star. It really is. That's that solid. I might have to bump it up to a 3.75. Let me have a couple more sips and see if it's worthy. It's definitely worthy of a 3.5 out of the gate. So, Bobby's got 2 bottles of the special release Talisker 8, 59.4. Damn. Oh my lordy lord, that sounds good. I'd have to try to see if I can pick me up some of that. Water, this is 43%, guys. I would not want to touch it, but just to say we gave it, it all around. The better, the more you have, and I'm not just saying this because it's alcohol, but the more you have, the better it does get. It I like it a hell of a lot better than that Tinnick 10 Flora and Fauna, and also I've had how do you say it, the Manamore. There's another one that I've had recently that didn't really do it for me. It just didn't have what this has. Trying to think. There's other Flora and Faunas out there, and most of them are pretty good. There's only been 1 or 2 that I've been kind of like, eh. So if you ever get your hands on a Flora and Fauna bottle, unless it is the I want to say Manamore. I have to look at the name of it again. I can't remember, but or the Tinnick, I would definitely try it out, pick it up. Let's let this settle for a little bit. I just gave it just a drop just to see if it's going to do anything positive or negative to the dram, to see if it brings out anything extra. It might bring some sweetness out, maybe if we're lucky, or it might bring out some herbal stuff, or you never know. Nose is still good. I think it did give more of, I think it tamed the sweetness and the spice on the nose. Now it's more of an herbal, get like more of a grassier notes on it. Like that and some hay. Huh. I think it tamed it a little too much. It's not unpleasant though, but the nice things I think were turned down a little bit, and I would rather have it neat. I'm pretty certain about that. It does give some creamy factors to it. Kind of gives more of like now it's got more of like a cream soda type taste, which I do like. I'm a huge A&W cream soda fan, so it's got that kind of, instead of going, the root beer sassafras, now we're going more into a vanilla cream soda kind of a taste. Not bad. It's got some options to it with water, so that's not a bad thing. That might bump it up to a 3.75 actually. I have to say, thank you so much, Paul, for letting me try this. It's a 3.75, I think. I enjoyed this one. I know you guys didn't enjoy it as much as I did. Roy probably even liked it more than I did, maybe. I can't remember what his rating supposedly was, but I do remember that he looks for this bottle a lot, and I can see why. It's got some really nice balance of that sweetness and that earthy bitterness, but it's not overly anything. There's no metallic stuff, minerals going on. It's a little dry, but it's not a mouthful of sand either. So that's always great. And I'm looking forward to enjoying the rest of this, definitely. So let's have a little cleanser, catch up with some comments, and see how you guys are doing. What are you guys drinking tonight? I'm just curious. I've never seen Flora and Fauna. Do you have to buy online? Moose says, yeah, typically you have to find it from overseas and order it. But Whiskey Exchange, Masters of Malt, there's lots of places that you can get it from easily if your state, I know unfortunately there's like 10 states that allow shipments coming in. Which makes it tough, but sometimes you get lucky, or you maybe find auction house, that type of thing. Sometimes, yeah, A&W cream soda, my childhood, I love that stuff. Yeah, it really does have, with a touch of. I mean, there's a couple drops of water. It really did bring that out, and I love 18-year-old. Whiskey too, man. That's like the sweet spot before it gets almost too delicate, but it's aged enough where you can definitely get a lot of complexity out of a whiskey. And I think 18 is pretty much most whiskey sweet spot that I can think of off the top of my head. But I think that you'd like it. Vegas Art, good to see you. Just catching up here. Let's see. Moose is asking if Loch Ness cracked open his log 8 yet. Hopefully, that's a good dram if you like a breakfast dram. A little stronger on the peat, but it's a good mouthful, I'd say. I'm Phil. I'm the only one alive who didn't love the 8-year lag. No, I mean I like it. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm just calling you DHS for short, DHS. But I liked it, but I don't like it near as much as the 16 or the Distiller's Edition, or even the 12. It's my least favorite Lagavulin. I will say that. It's not just because of the age, though. I think it's because of the 12. I'm sorry, the 16 has a little more. I don't know if it's sherry, if it's something else that gives it that really nice balance. But the 18 is a little the 18, I mean, sorry, the 8 is a little one-sided, one-dimensional to me. It's a great peat, burnt toast, um, breakfast ham, and that kind of taste. But you definitely have to be in the mood for it. So I'm with you, DHS, on that one. So you're not the only one that's kind of like, not sure if it's like, it's definitely not my favorite Lagavulin. And that's another one I'm going to do here in the next video is a Lagavulin 18 for Shield. I've got a bottle, thank God, of that stuff. That's going to be fun. Thank you so much, Lightness, for the feedback. I appreciate it. I try to be pretty in-depth with that dram. And now we're getting ready to go into a new one. And I've heard interesting things about this guy, but not too much. Inchgower. This is also part of the Flora and Fauna series. And this one's a 14-year-old, which is like better than 12, but not quite an 18. But, is it going to be good? I sure as hell hope so. 43%, not bad. That's released by Diageo and no longer in production. The Flora and Fauna collection includes rare and less commonly known single malts from all over Scotland. Malt distilled at Inchgower in Lower Speyside typically ends up in blends, particularly Bell's blended, which I do enjoy a Bell's blended. So that's a good sign. Don't usually drink blends, but if I'm just, wanting a quick dram and it's after work, I want something light if it's hot summertime, Bell's on the Rocks is actually pretty decent. And single malt releases, even from independent bottlers, are hard to come by on Inchgower. You don't see them very often. I have seen Cadenheads do some. You can see some older Cadenhead stuff in the 20-year-old range. I haven't tried them myself yet. This will be my first Inchgower. And 43%. It doesn't really talk about casks, so I'm not sure what they did for the cask in this. If you do know more information about Inchgower 14, please put it in the chat or put it in the comments after the fact if you don't mind. I appreciate it. Magnus is also a fan of the Lagavulin 16 and has an open 12. Oh, you're gonna love that 12, man. Cast strength. Don't think you're gonna get a cast strength 16. It's nothing like it. It's not like the 8. It's not like the 16. The 12 is its own beast. And don't be surprised if you get some like really I won't say strange notes, but things that you're not might be used to, getting from a. I mean, I even got cotton candy from a Lagavulin 12 cast strength 2016. Very nice. I know it sounds crazy, but with a lot of other elements in there. It reminds me a lot of an Octomore done well, like a 7.1. So if I had to think of another whiskey that reminds me of Lagavulin 12, that's as good as quality, that's well done. The Octomore 7.1 doesn't have the age that the 12 does, but it does have the power and it does have the palate. It's got the quality. It's well balanced. I think it's solid. So there you go on that deal. The 12 was pretty generic in my opinion. Just really good. Yeah. 160 for it, which is too much, but I thought it was worth the bone. Yeah, it's hard to find the 12-year-olds. This is cast strength. It's hard to find it under like 145. I think is the lowest I've ever seen, and that's before tax, maybe even. So 150 to 160 is about probably mostly normal. Oh yeah, the unopened bottle of 7.1 looks like I'm in for a fantastic fall season. Yes, you are, my friend, because I love that 7.1. I've got a bottle of the 6.1 back there that I've been nursing on it, and the 9.1 was just released per cartoon. So I need to get my hands on that. I think my favorite store nearby still has an 8 something. I can't remember if it's an 8.3 or an 8.1 or whatever the 8 is, but I need to get my hands on that as well. I'm a collect it all kind of guy. I'd love to get all the different versions of Octomore if I could possibly figure out a way to do it, but finding older ones at this point are going to be really tough, I have a feeling. Anyway, let's get to the Inchgower 14. So I don't know the cast type, so let's go in for a sniff and see, Wow. Now this is funny. I mean, typically, as you can tell from my wall of shame back here, I'm a usually an Isla, Campbelltown kind of guy. Doesn't have to be all peated for me. I love a lot of Bunnahavens that are not peated at all. They just have a really great taste. Um, and Spring Break, I mean, even though it's slightly peated, it's not what I would consider like a heavily peated whiskey, like an Ardbeg or a Laphroaig, and Glen Scotia is another one that's more of a sherried Scotch than a peated. And Kilholm is all over the place. They do have really nice peat, but they also have a lot of really great cask offerings. Now, this is completely different than all that, but I really like this nose a lot. And the reason is extremely, for a 14-year-old, it's damn complex. The first note I got, which it might be a turnoff to some people, but it's like a pine cone and like pine needles with like Heath bar chocolate with toffee and some fruit, like really light, nice. Even though it's light fruit, it's intense fruit. Like really think of the best white grapes, the best pears, the best, um, even a kiwi type of thing. Tropical fruits too. Maybe a pineapple. Huh. And it doesn't, and I think I like it a lot because not only is it complex, and it has a lot of herbal notes in here too. More, I'm not sure if I'll go thyme, rosemary, that type of thing, but it's really well blended, well done. Nothing is overpowering, you know. There's definitely not a one dimension thing going on. Even though there's no peat, there's a slight, subtle smoke in there. Huh. This definitely doesn't look like it's colored at all. It could be. It's got a nice, just a typical yellow gold, what I would consider a light yellow gold on the lighter end color. For a 14, it looks legit. But with the Flora and Fauna series, you don't really, you can't really tell. I do think sense some white pepper on the nose, and hopefully we'll get that on the palate as well. So it's got some maritime brininess, reminiscent of like a Talisker without the peat, without a lot of the darkness, kind of a lighter version. It's definitely an intriguing nose. Wow. Hmm. Very, very, very nice. Wow. Combination of pineapple, white pepper. You get some herbal notes in there still on the palate, but it's nothing overwhelming. I think it goes well. Wow. I do get white pepper, definitely. Really nice vanilla without being cloyingly sweet. Slight oak. I'm thinking this is probably, if I had to take a guess, European oak type of cask. A lot of vanilla notes, and it reminds me a little bit of the Laphroaig QA cask without the peat, which to me is actually good. Not as sweet as that one though. Even though there's vanilla going on, there's not a lot of sugary. It's more herbal, more of a spring bank green type of palette. If you've ever had a spring bank green 13 or 12, it's a green bottle. It it's glorious. You have to be in the mood for it. It's got some, it's got some like plantains and some strange things going on if you're not used to it. But once you are going in and you know what in for, man. It's a treat. It really is. Bring bank. Yeah, I couldn't say spring bank. That's really sad. The wheels haven't even come off yet. How sad is that? Any citrus notes in the Inchgower, Mose? Hey, good to see you, man. Um, mm. This is more, I mean, there's so much fruit going on this thing. It's really hard to pick out like your lemons or limes. Maybe a very distant lime or a distant lemon. It's not an orange, that's for sure. This is more of your tropical pineapple. You got some coconut in there. You got some mango in there. You got some papaya. You've got that with a lot of herbal, like rosemary, thyme, pine needles, pine cones, that type of goodness. It's very strange. I've never had anything quite like this, but it's extremely tasty. It really is. Now the funny thing is, this does not. I haven't seen this review as well as I'm surprised when I just kind of glanced over it. I use distiller.com as my um, information collective, getting like the casks or the years and the ABV and stuff. And their overall average rating is a 3.4, which is, pretty average. I think this is above average. Actually, even though I like the Blair Athol a lot, I think this is a slight better overall. It's complex, and you do have to have a taste for that type of dram. But if you do like a Dalwhinnie 15 with a little more complexity to it, or if you like, I'm trying to think of another good example, but that's like the Dalwhinnie 15 on steroids. I haven't had their Distiller's Edition. That might be a good comparison, but if it's a lot more things going on, great summer dram. I mean, I could drink this with, don't need anything, no water on it. It's 43%. It's not heavy. It does have a nice mouth coat, though. It's not. I'd say it's still medium. Mm. Mm. Really nice peppery notes too. Really nice spicy notes. I'm trying to think of like maybe some black. Maybe the black pepper might come in on the very end of the finish. The white pepper is more prominent. Finish wise, it's got some really nice sweetness, but it's the spice and the herbal notes really round it out well. I'm not huge on herbal finishes, I'll be honest. This isn't like, off-putting though, so I'm not bitching. Try one Springbank is the best. I'm not sure what you mean, cartoon. I do love Springbank, as you can tell up here. I've got many different ones, but this is like their green without the leather dunnage warehouse type stuff going on. There's a little bit of subtle smoke in the finish too, and it does have, this one has that slight espresso thing going on in the very end. It's really nice, man. Damn. This one makes you think more than this one. The age might be the edge that gives it that better refinement. Oh man, I'm not sure what they use. If it's, I would kill to know if I was right, if it's European oak, because it really does have that type of feel. And now I know why I like Bell's, because this is like its gut, its core juice, This is one, and this one too. These are distilleries. I wish Diageo. I'm not sure if they still control these. If they get to dictate what is used for blends versus what's experimented with. But I know Diageo is not huge on experimenting, as you can tell with Lagavulin. But pick one or two or whatever, and play around with some casks. Try. Port's the hardest one to do with Scotch, I've noticed. So I would leave port last to try. Maybe try a rum cask, Marsala, Amontillado, red wine. Try your different sherries. You throw some PX in there, some Oloroso. You've already done that with this guy, I'm pretty sure. Might as well try. I mean, I'm interested to see. Hopefully, the herbal notes won't be lost on it, but you could really do some interesting stuff with this. I have a feeling. 12 is kind of funky. Yeah, I like the 12 though. If you're in the mood for a little funk and you don't mind the cast strength, I do like the Springbank 12 a lot. And that was my second bottle. I'm pretty sure I had the 10 first and went for the 12 after, and then I never looked back. And then I got hooked, and then I've gone through the 15 and even I've done a 19 port cask and tried a Hazelburn. It wasn't really my thing. The Barolo cask was interesting, but I think I'm going to stick to Springbank and Longrow. I need to try some Longrow because that's their heavily peated stuff. That might be interesting, fun to try. But yeah, the 15 and the 12s are great. I need to get my hands on an 18 regular one and a 21 at some point. That's down the road though. How many Flora and Faunas do you have? Just right now, just the 2 bottles. I've had samples of just about, gosh, I'm not sure on the sampling. Probably half of them that are still available. I'm thinking we probably have gone through, because we've just my friends and I have just done a tour of all the distilleries in Scotland, and we're pretty much wrapping it up. Where we have touched every single distillery option, even 3 that are closed. I still have to do an Imperial back here, which is a mothballs closed distillery. A Cameron Bridge is still available. A Milton Duff. I've got a few more I've got to go through, but we've done just about every distillery that you could think of. Now, the ones that are Flora and Fauna bottlings, I'm thinking we've done probably at least maybe 5 or 6 of them ish. I've personally got a couple, 2 bottles, which I've been happy with the Inchgower a lot. The Tinnick, not so much my cup of tea. The first time I tasted it, I liked it though. Maybe it just needs a lot of oxidation to get better. It's got some nice honeycomb, honey notes in it, but right out of the bottle, right out of the gate, just opening it up with not a lot of oxidation, it just was a little too rough and raw from my palate, and didn't appreciate it as much. So I think that's one that might just need a little more time and a little more air to appreciate. And I've got looks like I've got a half of a bottle left, so I'll probably just let that simmer. I might try decanting some of that, like, get a decent decanter out, pour it out there, let it sit for a good hour and see if it makes a difference with just maybe a dragon glass or something that's got bigger mouth on it. Let it air out a bit. I'd love to get some Port Ellen. My God, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I've never had a Port Ellen or a brewery yet, though. That's my unicorn bottles there. Cartoon says, "What score do you give the whiskeys, pal?" I guess he's asking me what I give these. Now, the Blair, I'm going to give that a 3.75 out of 5.25 increment. And this guy, I'm going to give a solid 4.25. I really, really enjoy the nose and the palate a whole lot. And the finish is not bad either, with that really nice subtle smoke espresso at the very end. I'm letting this one simmer a little bit, but the finish here. His one 13 Oloroso, can't spell it, is 100% worth buying. I'd love to try that. Now, the Hazelburn I had was a 9-year-old Barolo cask, and maybe it was the wine. At first, I liked it, but the more I had, the less I was into it. But I do love a good Oloroso sherry. So if I had their and a little older 13-year-old, I might like that better. If I saw it, I would pick it up. But yeah, really nice balance of it. This one reminds me a lot. It sounds weird because it's nothing visually like it, but it reminds me of that Highland Park Valkyrie a little bit with the minus the pine herbal notes, the espresso, the nice overall taste. That finish reminds me of the Valkyrie a bit, which is interesting how that is, because this is very light. And I don't detect sherry in this at all, like the Valkyrie. So I'm not sure where that espresso type mocha note's coming from, but well done, well balanced, it's refined. It's got the maritime, like I said, Talisker notes going in there, which I really love. I would definitely pick up the Inchgower 14 before I would get the Blair Athol 12. But if you do see this, I would get it as well. But this is my favorite, definitely. I'd say, surprisingly, I didn't think I was going to like it very much compared to the other ones. So that's a pleasant surprise, not having a clue what it was going to be like. But this is one actually. If I ever have a way to get another bottle, I might actually get one just to have, because it's one of those that it's not just a conversation piece because it's so different. It's just, if you're looking for something, you're not really in a peaty mood, you're not necessarily in a sherry mood. You want just a nice solid Scotch. It's got great flavor. That it's not heavy in any direction, but it's got a really strong, well-aged palate. Pow, there you go. That's the drink for you right there. Definitely does better, I think, in the spring, summer than the fall, winter, but that's what Isla whiskeys are for. Well, hopefully you guys had fun with that, and I really appreciate you stopping by. Looks like Cartoon's having, oh, we're also 13. Oh, you were having the same one he was talking about earlier. Cool. Moses actually asking about if it's good with a cigar. Ooh, now that would be interesting. I want to say, now I'm not a cigar connoisseur. I was a smoker for many, many years, and I have had my share of cigars, but I'm not, as far as, I never kept up with, this is a cigar that goes with the Ugadal versus this cigar goes better with, this kind of thing. Never got to that level, but the herbal notes and the tropical fruit notes, I would say, if you have a cigar that goes with a rum, because this guy reminds me of a rum cask, European oak / rum kind of flavor. Balvenie Caribbean cask 14, that type of deal. If you have a cigar that you enjoy with that, then I would say yes. If you can't think of a cigar that you would enjoy with tropical / herbal flavors, then I'd say a big fat no. So that's kind of one of those subjective, it's not going to be easily to pair it as an Ugadal would. I mean, our big Ugadal goes with any cigar, basically, because it's so damn good. It's smoky and thick and flavorful and caramely and toffee. And I mean, you can go on and on about the flavors there. But this is more of a nice sit down, have a book, have a movie, just, pour you a big fat dram, sit for like an hour, and just really try to get all the notes going on. The smoke thing, maybe with the rum / tropical deal, if you can find a light cigar, it'll definitely have to be a particular type that would go with that. Yeah, Diageo has a couple gems here, I have to say. It'd be amazing if they, not just using it for blends, if they could figure out a way to really market Inchgower and Blair Athol, actually. These are not like the Tinnick stuff. It's like, that needs to go and stay in blends. Daluane, some of those I don't think have that capability that these two guys have. It. They could actually, I think, do a range. I'd love to see an 18-year-old, 20, 21, different casks we talked about, and with this guy, let's see better, longer ages, maybe the PX type version. The the options are endless, really. Steven says you got me wanting to grab a Dramafuki. Yeah, I've got some grooves I haven't opened. It's the limited release. I've already went through my committee release, but that grooves is nothing to sneeze at too. It's got some tropical, nice heavy peat, brisket charred oak thing going on. That's really enjoyable, but it's definitely one of those closers. You don't want to start with that at the beginning of the night. You want to close the night out with a big fat, Ugadal or Corey Vrecken or hell, anything. I really have to think, he's probably not here, but Travis Faircloth told me about Ardbeg Drum, the next 2019 Ardbeg Day release. Ardbeg Drum. It's going to be a rum cask. It's like, hell freaking yeah. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Ardbeg, if you're listening, throw a Dagobone, friends. I would kill to have it, even just a little simple. As you can tell, from the Kildalton to the Araverdes to the Dark Cove, I am a huge fan. Always will be. You guys are right up there with Lefroy for quality, good selection. Both of you guys, I wish, had better affordable ages. We'll get to that later. But I'm not going to, bitch too much about it. But hopefully the 18 Lefroy will come back in full force once the lore sells really well for a while. And hopefully the Ardbeg 17-ish. They just released a new 20-something that's a 22, I believe. I've had a 23. It's absolutely outstanding. But, guys, $600, come on. So not everybody's a freaking doctor or lawyer. So 17 would be ideal. 15, 17, $200, $250-ish if you really had to have your cut. Come on. Let's talk about it. Also got an email. Yeah, the 22. Yeah, that's gonna be another bourbon cask. That's the tough one there. You can get the 23 for 600. Yeah. That's the typical going rate. I think is $5.99 is the retail typical price everywhere you go. Just kind of like when you look for an old school Macallan edition one. Sadly, is like 500. I think it's $4.999 or $5.99, something like that. Good price, DHS says. Well, yeah, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, it is Ardbeg. It's 23 years old. It is old. But $600, man, come on. I can get a Glendronach 21 for, what is it, 280 something? I want to say 3. I can't remember. But it's under 600, that's for damn sure. 700 to 800 there. My God. Instead of cheat on whiskey with the old Rasputin stout, he's having a beer. Oh, my Lord. No, I can't blame you, Bobby. Sometimes you're just in the mood for a beer. Evil says he's traded a sold-out bottle. Got for 300 for my Ardbeg 23s got for cheap. Hell yeah, good job, man. That's the way to do it if you can. I wish I had a sold-out bottle that someone really liked that would trade me for a 23. Because, man, I've got a sample of the 23. We are going to look at that review in depth here coming up. Maybe I'll combine Bobby's old particular Talisker 8 with the Ardbeg 23. That might happen. I could see that being a good kind of a pair, sort of. Start out with the Talisker 8, get into it. It's hardcore, nice, and then finish out with a glorious. and I have had it, and it is freaking fantastic. The Ardbeg 23. Holy moly. All Rasputin bourbon barrel. Oh, bro, I'm not spinning that on Ardbeg. Yeah, it's a little high. Combine the A and B, and that's into with the 23. Oh, compare A and B. What is the A and B, Stephen? I'm wondering what you're pointing for there. A and B. I'm trying to think. Ardbeg something or other. Compare the A and B. Whiskey Vault said the 23 tastes like gingerbread. Can't wait. Yeah. Man, the 23 has so much going on, and what's great about the Ardbeg 23 is it's not just a powerful dram, and overall, it's got so many notes that you can dig out. It's got some really nice tropical stuff going on in there. I remember just off the top of my head, and it does have the age refinement. It's got the really nice peat still there. It's not light on the peat. Oh, Erignon based. Oh, dude. Okay, hold on. Hold on here. Okay. Combine the Erignon based. I send you with 20. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. I will definitely do a comparison. And man, the Erignon based is like, that's a unicorn bottle, has been for ages. It is on my list that I would kill to have. And I still need to get you a list, Steven. I'm sorry for the delay. I'll have to go through all this and see what is actually available. I got some stuff on this other side you can't even see. Don't have a whole lot, but I do need to make a run tomorrow and pick up something. So maybe hopefully I'll find something that's worthwhile that you might be interested in. Either way, yeah, definitely let me know, and I'll be on the lookout for that, because man, Erignon Base is like freaking. I've heard it's like God's like nectar. Angels took a pee in a glass. That's what it's gonna be. I would kill for it. I have plenty of money. Oh man, all right, man. Well, I will. I definitely have to salute you on that one, because that's a bottle. I remember Top Whiskeys had like this competition where they were trying to get people to sign up all this crap, and you could get a chance to win a bottle. And I filled out every freaking thing you could think of. I gave my left testicle. I gave my only daughter. I signed up my everything I could, and I still freaking lost. That's the saddest thing ever. Oh, I would love to have a taste of that though. So yeah. I think I sent you the information that you might need already, but if you need anything, or you know, but yeah, I'll definitely do we'll have an Ardbeg night. We'll have an Erignon based, and I've already got the sample of the 23 here, and we'll definitely have to make that a proper. And I'm even going to let this distillery know that I'm going to do it. Hopefully, we'll get somebody from the distillery to take a peek and come by, take a look, and see how much of a fanboy I am. I'm going to grab a dram of that instead of the Oogie. Oh, well, don't take it all. You're allowed only that much. I'm just messing with you, but man, definitely go easy on the pour, please. That's all I can say. Oh, I cannot wait to even just have a nose of it. I'm sure is going to be glorious. I've heard everything great, and I even bid on a bottle of that on an auction once, and it just went out of control. That's one of those bottles and I want to get a nice box, to put on the shelf, and usually that one's from like 1990, I want to say, and it's tough to find a decent box of that. So if you ever want to part with one, let me know, my friend. I'd be all over that in a heartbeat. Or I want to give you a list of what I have. Maybe we could do a trade somehow or something. But I'm like whatever it takes. So, well, thanks so much, guys, for stopping by. I appreciate it. I do have to telework tomorrow, unfortunately, so I cannot go all crazy tonight like I want to, but I am going to finish, I think, my Flora and Fauna here a little bit there. Might have another dram of that if I have time, but I definitely recommend Inchgower 14 and the Blair Athol 12, but more so the Inchgower 14 for you guys that are experienced tasters. Like Roy said in his video, I think some people might not, you know, get all into a particular note if they're not into herbal or, you know, different tastes that they're not used to. But if you've tasted a bit of whiskey, then I think this one will be, you know, something that you might get into there. And this is 1990 in the bottle, and 26, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, yeah. I've had my eye on that one for a while, man. Just like the supernovas, I need to get a hold of, and also Galileo, Serendipity, Renaissance. The very young, you know, almost there stuff. I'm not sure if I'm gonna collect that. Lord of the Isles would be awesome, but that thing's like $700-800. That's just crazy money. As is the RP 23. 17, I've heard is not all that great, but I'd love to try it. That was one of those kind of like off the wall short offerings they had for a 17-year-old. But the interesting thing is, and I'll close with this, Ardbeg had a non-peated release of Kildalton in 1980. I would love to have a taste of that just to see what it's like. I'm not a fan of the Kalila unpeated stuff. I do love their peated stuff. The smoky stuff is great. The 15, 17 unpeateds I've had have not done it for me. With Ardbeg, though, I'm willing to give it a try just to see. But finding a Kildalton from 1980, I've got the 2004, I think it is, or 2007 release. But I can't remember what year it was. Maybe it's 14. It was a little while back, but not old. But the 1980 Kildalton is unpeated, and I would love just to see what that's like. So if anyone has that out there, let me know. It's probably one of those auction-only kind of deals, I have a feeling. Well, thanks so much for stopping by. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up when you get a chance. And shout out to Scotch Test Dummies and Scotch 4 Dummies and all the other guys that do reviews. Excuse me. And just going to try to make it out to New York, I think, in December the 4th, 5th to meet up with the Scotch 4 Dummies and a couple other fans that just like to hang out with us and talk about whiskey and see how it goes. That's a possibility. Well, Slancheva, and see you next week with a couple new things, hopefully.